Alright, what's up guys? Today's going to be a pretty short video. We're going to be installing a new intake setup and PCV setup with a oil catch can on the Golf. Basically the stock PVC system is completely falling apart. Stock intake's pretty much falling apart. So what I have to put on it is a elbow that I got from AutoZone, a PCV elbow to stick on the crankcase, and a PCV valve. This is supposedly for a twin turbo Supra, I think, but it's perfect for this. This was $3 online. This breather, it's metal, not plastic, and there's a hose clamp holding it on. There's a very tight fit into that elbow, but I got it on there, so there's that. So it's going to be the new breather. Then I got the catch can, of course. eBay special, it was like 20 bucks. Got one of these. Make sure you put O-rings underneath these little top seats, and make sure you wash this thing out because there were metal shavings in here. It's all clean, O-rings everywhere there should be, so that there aren't any intake leaks or anything. Comes with this blue hose clamps, and the mounting bracket and stuff. I bought self-drilling bolts to mount the bracket with because I never like to use the ones I give there. This 110 degree bent mandrel bent aluminum pipe, which I've already drilled, threaded, and tapped for the fitting that the new hose is going to slide onto. This fitting just came from the hardware store. It was with like the water line fitting stuff, plumbing area, and I got the appropriate tap to match it. I think it was a 9/16 inch tap. Drilled a hole, threaded it in, and boom, it worked. Put an O-ring around it just to make sure it seals good. What I need to do right now is go remove the stock intake stuff, and I'll show you a couple of things. One thing I already did in the engine bay, and I'll show you the condition of the stock PCV valve and everything, and then we'll get to cutting this pipe and putting everything on. So the stock intake is removed. The one thing I did earlier was I removed the vacuum line that used to be right here. This one right here, it has this little T on it for the PCV valve, so I just replaced it with that line that was in there. We just replaced it with this straight line right from the intake down here. I don't know what this is for exactly, but oh well. Had to get that fixed, and basically you can see what's wrong with my intake. This backside had rips and cuts in it, so it was held together with electrical tape. This had rips all over it, and there was oil all over everything because it leaked everywhere. PCV valve ripped in half. Look at that. It just ripped in half. So this entire setup is totally junk, and I would have had to replace the entire assembly with another assembly that would have fallen apart the same way, and I really didn't want to do that. So if I could get this piece of hose off here, basically the whole setup is totally junk and was held together with hose streams and electrical tape. So looking to get rid of the entire thing. I got the mass airflow sensor and the pod filter just sitting down here. This new hole right here, because my fender liner doesn't fit, keeps letting salt get all over everything. I was going to buy a new pod filter, and a blue one, just to match everything, but since I keep tossing the salt all over everything, I'm going to hold off on doing that. But yeah, basically everything on here, except for that hose clamp that's still on there right there, is junk. So now what I need to do is get the pipe cut, get it attached right here. I should probably clean that throttle body while I'm down here, and then slide the pipe on, clamp it on, attach the rest of the intake, which would be just the mass airflow sensor, and then I can start doing the PCV stuff, which is just the valve catch can. I'll mount somewhere down here, I think, or maybe just use this right here because there's already some holes drilled in that spot, but we'll see. So I'm gonna get to that. I'll get back with you guys once the intake is all, once the actual intake pipe and everything is on here, and then we will get to doing the PCV system. Alright, so the intake is now all finished. Got the 110 degree cut. I got a coupler up here. I ended up not using the blue one, unfortunately, but I got this coupler right here, 2 clamps. It's all nice and solid. I reused a piece of the old intake right there because it was the perfect size, so got that all clamped down, and then of course the filter, and it's very, very sturdy now, as you can see. I do want to get like a 45 or 30 or something to swing this filter this way a little bit, but for now this will work. I just don't feel like listening to that all the time, but it may sink down a little bit, or I could actually probably go up here and twist that down so it's actually fine. But now all I need to do is get the valve on, which I can just kind of slide on. Obviously it doesn't fit very tight right now, but I think I'm going to slide that old hose I had in first and then slide this on top to make it tight. Hose clamp it down. I got hose clamps in the car, and then I'll find somewhere to mount this. I can't really mount it where I wanted to before now, so I'll figure something out. Maybe mount it like right here. I don't know. We'll figure something out as far as where to mount it, and then once it's mounted, I can run the lines to it, which is this line right here, and then the hose clamps and stuff, and then we'll be done. The new catch can will be in. It'll be really easy. Alright, so everything is installed, and the install looks really good. Check this out. Used pieces of the old brackets. That green stuff is my carpet for my porch that melted onto this, so that's just whatever. I'll clean it up later. Cut it, the 90-degree part off, and just used the two top flat parts, and then bolted this part up right there, and used the little 90-degree with the curved portion to mount the catch can, which is now right here. So I was able to use a valve cover bolt to mount it. I didn't have to drill anything. And then, of course, here's the PCV valve clamped down. Left that little piece of hose down there to make this lip a little bit bigger so it all fit. Valves in there. The blue hoses are attached. This is the hose going in, hose going in the intake, hose going into the can from the valve cover. Everything is clamped down, and I just double checked everything, and I moved the filters so now it won't hit anything. So this entire thing is totally done. It took less than an hour to do. Now I won't have to worry about blowing out a seal. The reason I didn't install an OEM valve was because you really can't get them for these VR6s for some reason. You can find them on eBay for like 50 bucks, which is ridiculous for a PCV valve. And if you can find them in a junkyard, there you go. But I was worried if I bought a new one, it'd end up breaking again. So it was easier just to delete the entire system. The intake was also falling apart, and I wasn't going to get a PCV valve that fit an intake I didn't want to run anymore. So I went, made my own setup, completely custom, replaced all the stock stuff with new parts that'll last way longer, and it looks really nice. So let's get the tools out of the engine bay before I forget they're in there. So yeah, and the reason, first of all, some people will delete their PCV systems, which I've done in the past and I ran into issues before, but I know that on engines, especially engines where you run higher compression or where you run higher oil pressure, if you delete those, you delete the PCV system, even if you just put a filter on it or something, you can blow oil seals out and leak oil everywhere, and that's not a good thing. The purpose of a PCV system, it's called a pollution control valve system, but it's not just for pollution reasons. It also creates a vacuum in your crankcase and your oil pan so that your oil pressure doesn't skyrocket and you blow seals out. So your oil seals will last a lot longer. It's a really good idea to do that on an older engine, especially. This thing's got 233,000, almost 234,000 miles on it. These seals probably didn't appreciate having a terrible PCV system on it. And the reason you run a catch can is so that you don't end up blowing a bunch of oil into your intake. So basically how a catch can works, if you're not familiar with it, and the advantage with a normal PCV system, this valve would just dump directly into the intake and it would let oil and all the oil fumes, and you'd end up with liquid oil all over inside of the all over your throttle body, inside your intake pipe and stuff, and that's not a good thing to have. So what'll happen is the vacuum in the intake pipe will pull the oil fumes through the valve. The more throttle you give it, the more this valve opens, and then it will travel through this tube and into this 90-degree fitting, which points straight down. What'll happen is the vacuum pressure will pull the oil through, and it'll end up dropping all of the heavier particles, all the heavier oil down and into this can, and then it will just continue to suck just air and really thin light vapors through the rest of the intake. Basically preventing you, like I said, from getting a bunch of oil in. And all you got to do is you got a sight on the side of this one. All the eBay ones I found had this, in fact. So if you don't buy one that doesn't have a sight, because then you're just screwing yourself. But it's got a little drain plug in the bottom that I should be able to untwist by hand here. Yeah, there we go. It's just a drain plug that you thread in by hand. So when this thing gets full, you stick a little container down there and drain it. And there's the drain plug right there. It's got a little O-ring on it. So, and the two other advantages, or basically the other advantage to a catch can is that you can more easily monitor the condition of your car's oil. So you could just drain this catch can out, and if it's not time for an oil change or something, you can drain this, take a look and see if there's metal particles, how does the oil look that's in there, all that stuff, without actually having to drain the oil out of the car. The other thing it's to let you do, and that's one of the other main reasons I got it, is to let you keep an eye on the blow-by your engine has. And blow-by is basically compression escaping past your piston rings, which will cause it to blow more oil out of your valve cover and into the can. So if I fill this can really quickly, my piston rings are probably tired, which I'm sure they are, and I'm sure I'll end up filling this thing relatively quickly. So that's the other advantage to it. So that's it, guys. That is the catch can installed. This whole thing looks pretty good. Like I said, I plan on getting a blue filter just to complete this blue look to go with my blue rice headers and my blue catch can and stuff, and my blue exhaust tip. I got bored and painted this, even though it looks like crap and it'll burn off. But I'm going to kind of continue the blue color, since that was just sort of the color that previous owners decided on, and I don't think it's a bad color. There's the blue stickers on the side of it, and eventually I want to get rid of that windshield sticker, but I've got reasons for leaving it on there, like how my window tint is faded. So if I peel that off, you'll still be able to see where it used to be, and I don't feel like doing that. So yeah, that is going to be it for this. That was pretty easy, pretty simple. Like I said, that looks really, really clean right there. I really love that. The new pipe looks nice. It just eliminated a lot of the clusterfuck that was going on in here. So, and I guess since you've watched all the way to the end of the video, I got some really good news for you guys. We have the next turbo build, the next budget turbo build. We have the vehicle. I'm going to go look at it tomorrow and make a video on it, hopefully. But I will be looking at it at least. I don't know if we're going to have time to make a video showing you guys the car and the build. But yeah, we bought it. I have the turbo build car, the next one. It's going to be a lot more in-depth than the Dakota was, and the car is a lot further behind than the Dakota was. As far as the car is, it's a basket case. It's not even running or driving. So I'll give you guys a couple hints as to what it is. It's a car, not a truck. It is a car, and it has a 4-cylinder in it, and it's rear-wheel drive. Go light up the comment section. Let me know what you guys think it is. If anybody can guess it correctly, all of you who do guess it correctly, I will give you guys a shout out at some point in either in the next video. When we go, I'll check the comment section, and I'll do a little thing in either the next video where we reveal it or the video after, depending on how long it takes to get videos up. And I'll give you guys a shout out if you guess it correctly. But yeah, let me know what you guys think I bought. You guys will for sure enjoy it. You guys will love what it is. Being rear-wheel drive, it also has the potential to be a budget drift build as well, which is kind of the reason I got it, was to do that over the summer with it. So we'll have some JK Garage drifting going on as well over the summer, which I think you guys will also enjoy. And of course, I plan on keeping this thing around. I've been debating potentially trying to autocross this thing a little bit just to see how it'll do. The thing really doesn't handle that well because the tie rods and everything are really shot, suspension's really shot, but it would be fun anyway. It'd do better than the budget build I've got, the next turbo build, or than like the truck would have done or anything. It'll just be fun to do. I'm not really going to compete that hard. I just want to give it a shot and see if I enjoy autocross or not, and just be able to say I've done it at least once. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Make sure to do it for that budget turbo build. I know that's what you guys have been subscribing for this whole time, is for the next build, and it's finally coming. So I will catch you guys later.